Let's take a look at the on-chain metrics, Ethereum's price action, and some trade entries. Hey there everyone, and welcome back to our weekly analysis of Ethereum. I hope everyone had a great Mother's Day and is excited for a new week of trading with us. We have a lot to discuss for the week in terms of on-chain metrics and market sentiment. And if you're new here, we do weekly analysis of Bitcoin and Ethereum every week alongside other altcoins. We have a fairly large winning streak going on right now in our trading room, and our group is completely free. The link is in the description down below, so check that out if you guys are interested. I'm also really excited to announce that I have passed another prop firm assessment and have gained access to another trading account with 200k worth of capital. I've been trading this account and currently at a 84% win rate overall. If you guys are interested in me opening up this portfolio live to you guys, let me know, and please consider subscribing, and I'll work on creating some content for you guys in terms of live trading and just how I take things day to day. And as always, we'll provide timestamps for you guys' convenience, so you guys can easily navigate to the sections that interest you the most. So the first metric I want to take a look at is the liquidity heat map, as we like to trade alongside large institutions, whales, and larger investors. And for these players to move around their capital, they require areas of higher liquidity. This allows them to move their money a lot more effectively and efficiently. So these two levels marked on the chart are the two levels that we've been looking at for a little while on our channel. So we'll have these two levels marked out on our actual chart, and we'll take a look at exactly what price action is doing around these areas once we get to our analysis. But looking at this metric, it does look like Ethereum wants to come down into these areas of higher liquidity, and this does play into our theory of where we think Ethereum is going. So this metric just gives us a little bit more confluence into our theory. So the next thing I want to cover is the liquidation levels for Ethereum. And as I always mention, whenever you want to trade short, you want to see a wipe of a lot of short leverage players. You can see that none of these circles are that large. So these are just some smaller players trying to take some leverage short plays and are getting wiped out. You can also see that there is a lot of liquidity building up above and below this range, and you can expect to see some volatility here to wipe out a lot of this liquidity before we see our true intended direction. So now to get to our analysis, let me show you how we use those two metrics we covered and some of our strategy to really snipe our entries into trades. For example, let's take a look at Matic here. We didn't quite get the short entry we were looking at, but we did get this long entry right on the dot. Price action is looking fairly weak, and it's looking like we are forming sort of a bear flag, so stops will be set break even. But the point I want to make is that using our strategy, we get a lot of sniper entries, which gives us a lot more room to work with in terms of risk to reward, which really increases our profitability. So now to get back to Ethereum here, I'm going to go to a lower time frame just because I want to show you guys something. So this is the concept of mean thresholds, where you do want to try to hold the middle of either bars or order blocks. And where this fib retracement is placed, this is the fair value gap on the daily. Price action just comes up to tap the middle of this fair value gap. If we had a candle close on the middle of this fair value gap, we likely would have seen the entire fair value gap get filled and then hit our trade entry here. But since we had such a high volatile wick, we were not able to hold the mean threshold, therefore we got rejected and did not fill our fair value gap or our trade entry here. So this is a way to snipe entries. If you guys want to play around with mean thresholds, this is a pretty good way to get some sniper entry into trades. But let's go back out to the daily here. So the two levels we're looking at are these two levels around 1660 and 1500, where there are pockets of high liquidity. So until proven otherwise, I'm still fairly bearish on the market. We do have another change of character right here. So I'm expecting us, according to our strategy, to get a lot of rejection off of the overhead supply, as we did in a lot of this area, where we were able to enter a bunch of short trades on our channel. I'm expecting us to get another entry into a short here, and we'll go over that on the lower time frame. But on the macro, I'm still expecting us to see some sort of hard resistance here, or come down to fill this CME gap, this area of liquidity, and find support here. So if we do go into that lower time frame, I'm gonna go down to the 1 hour time frame. So we have been respecting this downward trend line for about a month now. We did break above it for a moment, but I did mention that this was going to happen and likely tap our area of supply up here. But we didn't quite get into our trade entry that we mentioned previously on our channel. And in terms of current price action, I do think that we are going to get rejection off this and see some downwards movement. But if price action is bullish for the next few days, we can see a lot of this buy side liquidity sweeped out. and possibly find some sort of rejection here. But if price action comes up here and sees some strength, we can see another push up into that initial area of interest that we had on this broken base and find a rejection in this area. Similarly, if we find a lot of support in this area, we can see our move up and sweep out a lot of these highs, as these are fairly weak highs, and put in a new high here. But in my opinion, I do think that Ethereum is bearish, and before we see any sort of bullish price action like this, we are going to see more moves to the downside first. Currently, all my positions except for a couple of alts are all short, and I'll continue to stay short until I'm proven otherwise. And as always, as price action develops and my bias changes, I will keep you guys updated with another video. In terms of trade entries, our trade entries remain the same from what we've mentioned prior. I'm going to look for an entry on the sweep of this buy side liquidity and entering this zone of liquidity down here. So our entry could look something like this with our stop below the swing low. This would be a possible trade entry where this trade would probably take you, to at least sweep out the buy side liquidity here, but we can very well set a new high with this trade entry. The other entry I would look for is a fill of the liquidity down here in the CME gap with a stop below the lows right here. And if you wanted to be safe, you can always, set your stop a little less sensitive to this swing low, as that would completely invalidate your trade. And likewise for targets, you could definitely target at least this swing high with us setting a new high. But in terms of targets, you just want to take what the market gives you. And if the market is willing to give you a lot more, why would you just completely take profits here? I usually never set limit TPs, as you can squeeze out a lot more profits by watching and reacting to price action. So this is my update for Ethereum this week. I think on the macro, nothing's really changed. It's still these two levels that I'm really keeping my eye on. If we are suddenly bullish, not that we have any evidence that we are, but if we are bullish, these are the two levels that I'd be keeping an eye out for. And if price action does end up coming back here and really holding, then I'll probably close all my shorts and end up going long. If price action ends up coming up here and just looks really strong, I will also consider opening up a different long position and really riding up this momentum to new highs. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please let me know, and I'll continue to make more content like this. If you guys are interested in me doing live streams, also let me know down in the comments down below, as I'm considering just streaming live analysis of charts every morning and just kind of talking about my ideas for the market. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.